Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, as I was thinking of what I wanted to film, I wanted to just sit down and do an everyday makeup tutorial using drugstore makeup. But not just any drugstore makeup, I wanted to create a look using just the stuff that I'm super excited about right now. I pictured a friend coming up to me and asking me to pick out a full face of makeup for them for just an everyday natural look. And those are the products that I've gathered, and those are what we're gonna be using today. So I hope you guys are excited. I kind of want to eventually make this into maybe a series where I kind of update you guys on my top favorites for everyday makeup. You know, as new products come into the drugstore and as I try new things, I just kind of like the idea of making a video where you guys know exactly what I'm into right now if you're looking for something new at the drugstore. So here's the before and after so you guys can see the look that we're going to be creating today. I'm really excited and I'm going to be sharing with you why I love all these things. Some of these products are absolute staples for me and they're not going to be new to you if you've been watching my videos for a while, but there are a couple new ones that I have really been incorporating into my everyday routine that I really want to share with you guys. So let's just get right into it. Well, before we get into it, actually, two things. Sorry if you hear any rocks falling outside. They're making a rock wall in our neighbor's yard, so if you hear any construction, that's what that is. And also, please excuse my bug bite. I came home from my husband's family's cabin yesterday, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, when did this happen? And it's starting to itch, so I'm like trying not to touch it, so sorry about that. Anyway, let's get right into it. We're gonna be starting off with primer. I have a couple options, a couple different recommendations depending on what you're looking for. One of my current favorite primers right now is this one right here. This is the Neutrogena Prep and Correct Primer. This is the tone correcting primer, and it just kind of evens out the skin tone. I find that I don't have to use as much concealer or foundation when I use this because it just kind of like balances everything out before you go into concealer and foundation, so I really love that one. If you're somebody who has really dry skin, this is a great one. This is the Flower Beauty Supernova Celestial Skin Elixir. Very hydrating, very pretty on the vanity as well, so I thought I would share that with you as well. And if you're somebody who wants something a little bit more smoothing and blurring, this is amazing. I know I've talked about this one quite a few times, but this is the NYX Angel Veil Primer, and honestly, it's so good. It looks good under every foundation, so those are the three that I really wanted to talk about. Depending on your skin type, you might prefer a certain one. I'm actually going to be using the Neutrogena one today just because my skin's not particularly dry. I don't really care about blurring it for like a natural look. So for me, this Neutrogena tone correcting one is perfect just to kind of even out the skin tone a little bit. It's got a nice peachy tone to it. So I just like to apply this with my hands, and I apply it all over the face. Even though this primer isn't necessarily marketed to be pore filling or smoothing, I feel like it still does smooth the skin in some ways. I just really find myself reaching for this one quite a bit. Oh, also I should mention I already applied sunscreen. I'm still looking for a good drugstore sunscreen. I need to go through the aisles at Walmart and find one. In fact, let me remind myself. Remind me in an hour to look for mineral sunscreen at Walmart.
Okay, I'll remind you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to point that out because these primers don't have sunscreen in it, so just something to pay attention to. All right, we're gonna go into foundation. I have two that I'm obsessed with right now for every day. One you've heard me talk about so much, and the other one you've heard me talk about more recently, and I've been talking about it quite a bit. If you want more full coverage, this has to be one of my all-time favorite foundations from the drugstore. I love this through all seasons. It's my favorite. It's the Healthy Foundation from Physicians Formula. So if you're somebody who wants a little bit more coverage, I would recommend that one. The finish is more natural. It's not necessarily matte or dewy. It's kind of right in the middle. It really does make your skin look super healthy, and it has a buildable coverage, which I love. But the other thing that I've really been loving, and if you're somebody that's been into a more lighter coverage product these days, you need to check this out. This is the NYX Bear With Me Tinted Skin Veil. It's basically a tinted moisturizer, and I actually really like how this doesn't have added SPF to it because a lot of tinted moisturizers do, and I just have my own SPFs that I prefer to use, so I really like that I can add this on top of my own sunscreen. This is definitely more of a lightweight formula like I said before, but I've been really enjoying it. I'm just going to take some of this on my fingers as well, and I'm just going to start to work that into the skin. The shade that I'm using is Vanilla Nude. I've applied this with a brush and a sponge as well. I just kind of wanted to try it today with my fingers. Over the weekend when I was at my husband's family's cabin, I just brought a little bit of makeup, and every day I found myself applying so much of it with just using my hands. I was like too lazy to go wet my sponge in the sink, and I actually really loved how the concealer blended out and everything, so I just wanted to see what that would do if I blended it out with my hands. And with this particular product, I feel like I still like it with a brush or sponge. I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little more coverage on the cheeks. I have a lot of redness on my cheeks, so I like to add a little bit more coverage there. And I'm actually just gonna go right in with my sponge, and I'm gonna use that to blend out the additional foundation we added and also to just smooth out any lines on the face. But I have absolutely loved this foundation. When you look up close in a mirror, you can still see your skin through it, which I think is really nice for summertime especially. Oh, also, the wear time on this is about 8 hours. It looks really good for hours and hours on me, but I will say that it does start to fade a little bit more if you try to wear this for a full day. So if you're somebody who needs it to last a little bit longer than 8 hours, I would recommend this one. This foundation wears super well on my skin for a really long time. I don't know if there's a certain wear time when it comes to this foundation, but if you're somebody who needs it to last a little longer, I would go with this one. All right, let's go into concealer. So there's 2 concealers that I would recommend for different reasons. I'm currently really loving the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer, and I like this because it's very full coverage, and I find with more summery everyday looks, a more full coverage concealer in lighter amounts is really nice. If you're somebody that still has dry skin even in the summer, you can't go wrong with the Maybelline Fit Me concealers. I love these as well, so I wanted to kind of mention both to give you some options as far as like what I would recommend depending on what your needs are. For today, I'm going to use the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer, and I've got the shade Oatmeal. It has a large doe foot applicator, very similar to Shape Tape, and I'm just going to dot a little bit just along those darker areas under my eye. And then we're also going to use this to spot conceal any blemishes, as well as my bug bite. No can do. But I'm really not too concerned about the face makeup looking super, super flawless, if that makes sense. Obviously, I want to conceal the areas that are a little bit more red. Oh, I forgot a blemish. Bloop, bloop, bloop. But for an everyday look, I almost want people to be able to see my skin. It just looks way more natural, and it also wears better throughout the day if you have less product on the face, especially in the hotter months. I'm just kind of blending out all the concealer. That concealer dries down pretty quick. I usually recommend using it and then blending out the individual spot. I was kind of in a habit of just putting concealer all over my face and blending it out, and I forgot that this concealer does dry down faster than a lot of my concealers. I'm going to take a little bit of concealer and kind of conceal the top areas of the eyelid, but I'm actually going to leave that pretty blank because of a product that I'm going to be talking about in a minute. Let's go ahead and set the face. I'm obsessed with this powder. I think it's incredible. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder. It is so good, and we're going to use it to lock in all the complexion products. I'm just going over everything one more time, making sure that the concealer is blended out everywhere before we lock it in with powder. We might need a little more concealer on the bug bite. Oh, there we go. That's a little bit better. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go into this Photo Focus powder, and I'm going to start by just taking a smaller brush, and I'm going to go ahead and press that underneath the eye area, and I'm also going to use it to set any blemishes. This blemish up here might just be a lost cause. I'm not sure how well I can cover that, but we're just going to make it work. I'm going to go into that same powder with a larger brush and just kind of press that onto the cheeks because that's where I have a lot of redness and I don't want the coverage to come up. If you're somebody who wants a more dewy finish on the outside of the face, you can skip powder on the outside. I personally love to powder the whole face, especially if I'm going to be using, mostly powder products. I just find that it helps everything blend better. So this is usually what I do, but if you're somebody who doesn't like to powder the whole face, you can totally skip this part. I'm like dying to get my brows on, but when I normally do an everyday routine, I don't do my brows until a little bit later in the routine. So we're gonna go ahead and go into bronzer, highlight, and blush right now. I have a couple bronzers that I really love, so I wanted to talk about them all just in case you all have different preferences as far as what you're looking for when it comes to bronzers. Right now, I'm personally loving the Flower Beauty Heatwave bronzers. These are a baked formula, they're really luminous, and so if you want something that's gonna add glow and warmth to the skin, these are amazing. If you're somebody who wants a very matte bronzer, maybe you have a little bit more texture on the sides of your face and you don't want to emphasize that with any shimmer, this is an amazing one from Maybelline. It's the City Bronzer. This one's in the shade Light, and it's just the perfect tone to both contour and warm up the skin. This comes in, I believe, 3 shades, so you can definitely find the shade that works for your skin tone. I really like the formula of that. If you want something right in between that's really nice and matte, but there's also a subtle luminosity to it, this is a classic, the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It's a must, so I thought I would mention that one again, even though I know most of us have this in our collection. It's definitely a really good one if you have not tried it yet. That's an amazing bronzer. For today, I want to use the Flower Beauty bronzers because I'm truly obsessed with these. It comes in 2 shades, and I'm a little bit extra, and I use both shades. You definitely wouldn't have to. This one's geared towards more light skin, and this one's geared towards more medium skin, I believe, but I love them both because this has more of a cool undertone and this one has a little bit more warmth to it. I like to mix them, and I feel like when I mix them for my skin tone, it just looks really good. Oh, dropping brushes. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and go into the shade Sunrise L1 first. I'm just gonna start to sculpt out the face using this. I like to apply it around the forehead, right under the cheekbones to kind of add some warmth there. And also I like to run it down the neck and along the jawline. That just helps keep everything uniform from your face down to your chest. If you drag the bronzer down onto your neck and chest, it just helps a lot and helps everything look more cohesive. So that is about how much bronzer I want when it comes to this shade. Now we're gonna go in with a different brush. I want something a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna take this one, just a little bit more of a fluffy brush. And I'm gonna go into this shade. This is called Sunswept M1. And I just wanna kind of lightly dust this right over top just to kind of bring in a little bit more of a warm tone. I also love to drag a little bit of what's left on the brush just across the nose to help it look more sun-kissed and natural. All right, and then for highlighter, where did I put that? Okay, this is available at Target. I don't know if it's in stores or not. I don't actually have a Target near me, but this is technically a drugstore item. It's a little bit more pricey than the rest of these products I'm going to be sharing with you, but this is my favorite highlighter right now, drugstore and high-end products included, so I just wanted to really share with you the highlight that I would definitely recommend. Something similar and something that I love equally is the Essence Pure Nude highlighter. It's a very similar baked formula. I love the tone and undertone of this one specifically for my skin tone, but I still do love the Essence highlighter as well, and it does give a very similar effect. I'm gonna go ahead and go into this with my highlighting brush, and I really like to do highlighter before blush because I just feel like it helps it look like it's coming from within instead of having the highlight sit on top of your skin. So the reason why I love this is because it really does look like it's coming from within the skin. It is so pretty. It's definitely one that I like to build up a little bit more, but it never looks unnatural, which is why it's perfect for every day. And if you're somebody like me who doesn't like a super unnatural looking highlight, you would love this. So I just like to kind of apply that to the high points of the face, and you can see the glow that it gives, but it never looks fake. It never looks like too much. I love this stuff so much, if you can't tell. Just like that. And then we're gonna go into blush. I don't know what happened to the other shade of this. I had packed the peach shade of this blush in my bag over the weekend, and I brought it down here to use because I've been obsessed with it, and I don't know how I misplaced it, but I did. So I love both of these shades, but I have been using the peach one quite a bit, so I will have that link down below as well. But for today, I'm gonna use the Burt's Bees blush in the shade Shy Pink. I also do really love this one though. And I'm just gonna take this on a blush brush, and I'm gonna smile and just apply this to the apples of the cheeks, kind of sweeping it back even over the highlight a little bit. I just find that that helps everything look really seamless. As you buff the blush over top of the bronzer and the highlighter, it just kind of looks like one instead of three separate stripes, you know? I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that to the cheeks. And also what I've been doing is I've been taking that brush and just putting it right here with the same exact brush. I'm not really too precise. I just like to kind of buff it right here, and that adds a little bit of color. It especially looks really nice with the peach blush. That's a little bit pink, so I wanted to show you what I've been doing, but just keep in mind that I've been using a more peachy tone. It's still gonna work. We're still gonna make it look good, but that's kind of what I've been doing. Now I go into brows, and this is where things start to come together. I have been loving this brow pencil ever since I tried it last week, but still, it's an amazing brow pencil. This is the new Maybelline Brow Ultra Slim Defining Pencil. It's just good. It's just a good drugstore brow pencil. I'm really, really loving it. But I'm gonna go ahead and just fill in the brows with this pencil. I just like to use small hair-like strokes to kind of just shape the brow. And then I always like to flip the brow pencil over and use the spoolie. I love how this pencil comes with a spoolie. That always helps to create a more natural looking brow. All right, so already my makeup looks 10 times better. Brows really make a difference, especially for me. So we might touch up the brows a little bit later, but for now, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So for eyeshadow, if you've watched my channel, you know that like for an everyday routine, I love to just dip into the bronzer that I've used and kind of dust that all over the lid. And it works really well when you combine that with some blush in the lid too. It just makes everything look really cohesive. So that's always an option. But I wanted to show you guys and use a product that I've been loving as well. And I feel like it's a really great everyday product. I know I've just recently talked about these, but I really have to mention them again because they're a little bit newer as far as the shade range goes. Maybelline revamped their ColorTattoo 24-hour cream eyeshadows, and when I tried these out last week, I was floored, and honestly, they're so amazing. So I wanted to use another one today. I think I'm gonna start out using the shade Urbanite. This is a little bit more of like a beigey tone, and I'm just gonna take that on a brush. You could definitely use your fingers as well if you want, and I'm just gonna start to layer that all over the lid. I actually use a brush and my fingers. I like to kind of distribute the product evenly all over the lid first, and then I'll go ahead and pat it in with my finger just to make sure there's no harsh lines, and it kind of helps pick up any excess product as well. I also love to run the same color along the lower lash line, and these shadows also do a really good job at covering up any discoloration on the eyelids. Usually I apply concealer all over the lids just to cancel that out, but with these shadows, they're so pigmented, I'm able to skip that step, which is very nice and saves a lot of time. I'm just gonna run some underneath this lower lash line as well. And then I'm actually going to go in with one more layer closer to the lash line just to intensify the color on the lid a little bit. I really love this color. It's a really subtle color, but it's not so subtle where it's not noticeable, which I feel like is perfect for every day. I'm just gonna wipe off any foundation that got on the lips. Okay, so I was debating whether I should do this or not, but I think I'm just gonna do it. This is one option to just do a more matte color. Again, this is in the shade Urbanite. In the video where I tested out these shadows, I used this one, which is probably my favorite. It's called Socialite. What I did not get a chance to use, and I still haven't, is this bronze color. This is in the shade High Roller, and I just really want to kind of try it out. I'm just gonna take the same brush, and I'm gonna take a little bit of this. If bronze is not your color for every day, you can definitely leave it as something like this, but I know a lot of people who like to wear metallics on an everyday basis, so I thought that I would just kind of throw it out there and see, you know, how this looks. So I'm just gonna do a lighter wash of the bronze all over the lid from the lash line to the crease. And I'm also going to run that across the lower lash line as well. This color is really pretty, and the thing that's cool about these eyeshadows is you really can build them up to the intensity that you want. I'm just doing a more light layer since we already applied 2 layers of the other color. I don't want there to be too much product on the lid, but I really do like the soft sheen that that gives, and you could definitely build it up to a more intense bronze look if you wanted to, but I think this is perfect for the look that we're trying to achieve today, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. Okay, we're gonna go into mascara. You guys already know I love the L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara. It is so good. But a close second is the Covergirl Exhibitionist mascara. This is amazing. It does not smudge or flake on me. The L'Oreal Lash Paradise can flake sometimes if the bottle is a little bit more old. I have not experienced that with the Covergirl Exhibitionist one yet, but I will say I always get this all over my eyelid. So I have to be careful. I don't know if it's the wand shape or something, but for some reason this mascara gets really messy for me. But anyway, I'm just gonna apply this to both eyes, top and bottom lashes, and I'm gonna do about 2 coats. Also, it's important to note that my taste in mascara is massive volume, okay? Like, I really like a little bit of a clumpy lash. So if you do not like that, you might not like this mascara. Even on an everyday basis though, I love to keep everything super neutral and then just like load up the mascara. I love that look personally, so that's what I'm doing for this look. So I did get some flakes on the eyelid. I'm gonna wait for those to dry a little bit more before I try to dust them off. Goodness gracious, this construction is getting very loud. The show must go on. So for lips, I absolutely love the Honest Beauty tinted lip balms. I just feel like a tinted lip balm is so great for summertime and for every day. I also love the tinted lip balms from Burt's Bees. If you're like me and you don't have a Target, Burt's Bees is usually at most Walmarts and things like that. But I'm gonna be using the Honest Beauty tinted lip balm in the shade Summer Melon. This is just my go-to shade. It's just that perfect pink, you know? Like, this lives in my purse. I love it. And it's so hydrating. You can build it up and kind of make the color more intense if you want, or you can just do like a sheer layer. I personally love a good tint to the lips, so I do build it up quite a bit, but it's just so nice on the lips. All right, let's see if we can dust off any of this mascara. Okay. I told you guys I make a mess with this mascara. It literally happens every time. Maybe it's my eye shape. I don't know. All right, let's step back and assess the situation. I actually really like, you know, the balance. Of course, I'm adding a little more bronzer with whatever's left on the brush. But I really like how this looks. This is definitely my vibe when it comes to an everyday look. Let's go ahead and set the makeup. I've been really into two setting sprays. Both are dewy. I actually forgot to use this one in the beginning. Sometimes I will spray this on bare skin before makeup if I feel like my skin needs a little bit of a pick-me-up. And I will also use it at the end of applying my makeup. This is the Pixi Hydrating Milky Mist, and it's amazing. It is such a good mist. This is one of my favorites, drugstore and high-end included. And the other one is this L'Oreal Lumi Shake and Glow Dew Mist. This one's a little bit more oily. It's kind of similar to the Tatcha Dewy Skin Mist and the finish that it gives and also the feeling of it. So I've been really into both of these for summertime especially. I've been a little bit more into this Hydrating Milky Mist recently, so I'm going to use that one today. This doesn't necessarily like lock your makeup in all day long, but it just makes it look healthy. It kind of melts the powders down, which is why I love it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and spritz the whole face with this. Oh, and it smells so good, by the way. I am not shy when it comes to sprays. I love a good setting spray. Then I take my handy fan and then I go in with my sponge and just kind of lightly pat everything down. This helps all the powders just melt into the skin. It makes everything look way more natural. This is one of my favorite steps in makeup. Bronzer, mascara, and setting spray are probably my top 3. All right, there we go. Now, for final touches, these are important too. I love to take my highlighter. In this case, for today, it's the Honest Beauty highlighter, and I love to pop that in the inner corner of the eye just to brighten that up a little bit. I personally really feel like this step helps complete an eye look. And if you're ever doing your eye makeup and you step back and you're like, something's missing, ask yourself if you've put on an inner corner highlight. And if you have not, you must. I also like to take this highlight and just go right beneath the brows just to kind of highlight the brow bone. And again, it just helps the eye makeup look more complete. Let's assess the brow situation and just make sure that this looks how we want it to look before we set the brows. For me, setting the brows is also an essential step. I'm just gonna touch them up a little bit, kind of right here in the center. And then I'm gonna go into my NYX Control Freak Clear Brow Gel. This is a great option at the drugstore. Also, clear mascara at the drugstore works really well for a brow gel as well. Just up to you basically, and I'm just gonna go ahead and brush this through the brows. If you're gonna be spending your day outside, or if you have more oily skin, or if you feel like your skin is looking a little bit too dewy to start, I always go in with my Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed, oh my gosh, almost dropped it. This is my favorite. This is like $4 at the drugstore, you guys. Make sure you pick up the shade 001 Transparent. It comes in other shades. This is the color that I recommend, and it's just amazing. I love this for setting the T-zone, so after I've done my setting spray, I will go back in with this powder and just kind of touch up the areas that I really don't want shine and that I don't want to budge. I swear by this, you guys. I run this through the smile lines. I also put it on the chin. For me, I do not want the forehead to be shiny, so I really like to dust it between the brows right here, kind of above the brows a little bit. Tip of the nose, did I already say that? Basically the whole T-zone for me. I leave the sides of the face because I don't mind if that gets dewy throughout the day. My cheeks don't get oily. It's the T-zone that I'm worried about, so that's what I like to do. All right, you guys, so that completes this everyday makeup look. I know it's very easy, but that's the point of an everyday look. I hope you guys found this helpful. These are honestly drugstore products that I am absolutely loving right now. So hopefully if there's something that you are in need of, maybe this helped you be able to kind of figure out what you might want to check out. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays when I upload my video, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. I want to know what your drugstore everyday makeup staples are in the comments down below, so please make sure to comment that. I love you all so much. Oh, before we go, my 400,000 subscriber giveaway is still going on, so I will have that link down below for you guys if you want to check it out. Also, leave any video recommendations that you guys want to see me do in the comments down below. I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.